welcome back to the Alinsky channel, everyone. The other day, I have a really good friend of mine, and he is a good friend of mine. We don't agree on a lot of things, but I think he's an intelligent guy, and I think, you know, he wants a better country. He really does. He's not for communism or totalitarianism, and he's not a useful idiot. So I consider him a good friend. We've talked a lot, and we want some of the same things. But this is what he said to a friend of his. The Alinsky thinks that people who are not in the mainstream views are under the alien influence of Saul Alinsky. And when I saw that, it prompted me to make this video. Because I think I need to explain myself, because I write comments to him, I communicate with him via his channel, and we never seem to, you know, end up anywhere near where I wanted to be. I talk about Saul Alinsky because I believe Saul Alinsky is a big part of what's happening here in the United States of America. I believe that there is a world conspiracy to create a one-world government. Of course I do. Who wouldn't? They talk about it all the time. Okay? The UN, for example, was in, where were they? Austria. And they were saying, what's stopping the UN from controlling the world's agenda is nation sovereignty. Sovereignty of nations. U.S. sovereignty. So, can I influence, this is why I don't talk about this. Can I influence the UN? Can you influence the UN? Can you influence the IMF? Can you influence another country? Can you influence banks? You? No, of course you can't. So I don't focus my attention on areas that I have no power whatsoever. Where I do focus my attention is on the United States of America, because I'm an American. We still have a Constitution. It still exists. We still have Bill of Rights, Declaration of Independence. It's still there. We have a fighting chance here. Slim chance, but we have a chance. So why not focus your attention there, on your country? So that is what I do. So I look at the federal government, I look at the progressive movement, I look at the Republican Party, I look at our government and what they are doing to destroy us, and I try to figure out how are they doing it. So I investigate who the people are controlling things. Saul Alinsky has gone under the radar for far too long, people. If you have never read Rules for Radicals, you must read it. You must understand the tactics that are being used against you. The organizational skills that that book has given these people to work in the system to fundamentally destroy it, to change it, to ultimately change it. So if you underestimate the influence of Saul Alinsky, then you, my friend, are a useful idiot. The man running this country quotes this man. His wife quotes this man. Their rhetoric follows his rules. Read the rules and you'll see. It's crystal clear. I follow Cloward and Piven because that's the strategy that they're using to collapse the system under debt. Do you understand? And that is how President Obama and our federal government at this point in time is going to usher us into the UN control, because the only thing stopping them is sovereignty. when the U.S. collapses under all of this debt, the IMF is going to come in and bail us out. You understand? Just like in the banking industry, when the financial industry, when the federal government bailed them out, some of them, banks out, some of them didn't even want to be bailed out, but they forced them to. That gave the federal government the right to go in and control those companies. I mean, right down to how much they make. There's a pay-czar now. Do you know how absurd that is? A pay-czar? They're collapsing this economy. They're collapsing us under debt. This healthcare plan is going to be just debt. This tax increase on corporations is going to create more debt. It's not going to bring in any more revenue because jobs and businesses are going to leave this country. By design. That's Cloward Piven. Redistribution of wealth. What happens when you take the wealth from this country, jobs, and give it to another country? What happens to the country left without the jobs? Well, it collapses. It collapses. Because now all these people are on some form of welfare. Some sort of government-funded welfare. Which, in turn, indebts the country. Because, I mean, where's that money coming from? It's being printed. Every time you print, it adds to the debt. And, I mean, 13 plus trillion, going on 14 trillion. Give me a break. With no sign of recovery. This is not a recovery. They are hampering the recovery. It's to usher us into that. But I don't focus on that. I focus on the federal government. Because there we still have power. Slim, but power. I mean, the Tea Parties are obviously proving that. We're taking on the Republican Party. No one can seem to understand that. There's not a divide in the Republican Party. There's no divide. Most of us are not Republicans. We're purging the Republicans of progressives. Like Castle. Why vote for someone who's going to vote for cap and trade, which is Cloward Piven. Which is Cloward Piven. It's going to cost us more money to exist. It takes away your freedoms. Because, you know, energy allows freedom. So yes, I know what's going on over there, but I focus here. I focus what's going on in this country. First and foremost, you have to understand the tactics that are being used against you. And if you don't, you'll never get it. You'll never get it. Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals. I'm telling you, read it. You'll see it crystal clear. You'll understand the tactics and why. He tells you in here. God bless America.